You guys, I've read so many amazing books this year. Just freaking buckle in, okay? Because I have some amazing recommendations for you. Okay, you guys, hi, hello. I'm Maile if you're new here, and today I'm doing one of my very favorite videos to film out of the whole year. I am doing all of my 5-star books that I read this year. All of the books that I read that were just incredible, amazing, worth a 5-star rating on Goodreads, where you can follow me if you want to. I'll put my Goodreads handle below. Do you have handles on Goodreads? I don't know. I don't know how to work social media. So I'm so excited to share with you all of the best books that I read this year. Also, look at that. Dealing with some weird lighting, you guys. Just, you know, take me as I am. What can I say? And before we get started, I should remind you, don't forget to subscribe so that you can stay tuned for all my future videos. I do lots of book videos, lots of vlogs with Eric and I, my husband. We do shopping videos, grocery hauls, all the things. So click that red subscribe button and join our fun little corner of the internet. Why don't ya? So just for reference, I like historical fiction, I like romance, I like fantasy, throw in a couple of fiction and even some nonfiction in there as well, but mostly I read romance and fantasy. And I'm going to pull up my Goodreads and jump right in to get started because, like I said, it's been a good year for books. I have read a lot of good books. So the first disclaimer I'll make is I've read a lot of series this year. I am a big fan of book series. I'm a big fan of book series, how do you say that word? I don't know, the plural of series, book seri, I don't know. So I've read a lot, and a lot of them were really freaking good. So I'm not gonna tell you every single number 3 of this series or number 7 of this series that I rated 5 stars. I'm just gonna tell you overall the series that I've read that were really good. And also, chances are there's for sure an in-depth video on each one of those that I've done on my channel throughout the year. You can go find. So I rated a lot of the books in the Veronica Speedwell series 5-star. You should definitely check that out if you like a good murder mystery / romance. It is, I love that character so much. It's kind of like a feminist Sherlock Holmes-y type vibe. I rated a lot of books in the Zodiac Academy series 5 stars this year. I've done a full video about that, I'm sure of, so I'll link that here. And I reread all the Harry Potter books. In fact, I actually listened to the audiobooks of them this year. I'll link the video where I talk about that up here. And of course, I gave most of those 5 stars because it's Harry Potter and I love Harry Potter. So skipping over all those, the first non-series book that I rated 5 stars this year was actually a book that was kind of surprising. It's called When the Curtain Falls, and it's by Carrie Hope Fletcher, who is a star of the London West End. She is just an incredible singer, actress. I love following her on Instagram. She has a YouTube channel too. She's a big book nerd, and she's actually an author as well. She's written so many great books, and this was the first one that I read. Very much a romance. If you like musical theater, if you like kind of a behind the stage, behind the scenes showmance, if you will, tale, then you'll really like this. It's also mixed in with a little bit of murder mystery. Super good, very fast read, and I recommend the audiobook as well. So the next book that I rated 5 stars was Pride and Prejudice. If you don't know me, then you wouldn't know, but Pride and Prejudice is my very favorite book. It has been since I read it for the first time when I was like 12 years old. I collect copies of Pride and Prejudice. I read it at least once a year, every year, a lot of times more. And it's my favorite book, so of course it's rated 5 stars. So gotta throw that one in. Okay, what's next? The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I've talked about this in one of my most recent book videos. I'll link up here if you want a more in-depth look at it. That book is so stinking good. I have fallen in love with Taylor Jenkins Reid, who's the author of that book and a couple other books on my list that also have 5 stars. I had never read her before. I think she's a fairly new popular author. I think she's probably pretty prevalent on Book Talk. I wouldn't know because I don't have TikTok, but I've heard that she's pretty prevalent on Book Talk. Anyway, such a good Hollywood glamour, celebrity life, hidden love, forbidden love kind of story. So good, so compelling. Definitely 5 stars. Another one of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books that I gave 5 stars to was Daisy Jones and the Six, which it was probably one of my top 3 favorite books I read all year. It was so stinking good. It's written like no other book I've ever read, kind of as a Vanity Fair, true Hollywood story interview style look back of a band over their entire career, and you get different perspectives and the stories that they go through in their career and their life journey told in so many different perspectives by each one of the band members. And man, it is such a weird, funky, cool, very engaging book, and it's a really quick read too. And they're making it a show on Hulu, maybe? Some network is making it into a show, and it comes out soon, and I cannot wait because it's one of the best books I've read all year. Probably top 3 for sure. Oh, another one that might be in my top 3, definitely top 5, is Book Lovers by Emily Henry, who is apparently a Book Talk author as well. I loved this book. I loved it so much. It is a classic cheesy romance, hate to love kind of story. What I love about her books is that they're very, yes, they're cheesy and romantic, but they're also very real, like very compelling, real, layered characters. And, you know, so many love stories that you read, the problem of why the relationship can't happen is so contrived, and you're just like, really, you're making a big deal out of this? That's so dumb. Just make up and communicate and everything will be fine. That's not what this story is like. It's actually a very layered and nuanced story, and just, such great characters, an amazing book. If you love a romance and if you are a book nerd, you'll love this book. Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, I also gave 5 stars to. This one was really good. Honestly, it's kind of a mix between The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. It's kind of in that historically celebrity, wealth, and drama kind of vibes. It's about a set of siblings, and they're all pretty successful, but they come from a really bad home life, and they're all self-made, and it's just a very interesting story about their dynamic and their life and their trauma, and you should definitely read it. It is very, very good. Okay, another book I rated 5 stars was Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. It's his autobiography. I actually listened to the audiobook, which I absolutely recommend because he reads it, and there's no way reading the book compares to listening to him read it, just in his own voice and his cadence. Like, it is so cool. That man has lived 1,000 lives, and he has so many stories, so much good life advice. And you know, you would think that when celebrities write books, it's easy to just make it all fluff and funny. His is incredibly heartfelt. You can tell he's just kind of pouring his heart out in this book, and it is so cool to read. It's very much just a story of humanity and who he is as a person and his outlandish experiences in life and what he's learned from it. I definitely recommend it to anyone, especially listen to the audiobook. Okay, next, Beach Read, another really good Emily Henry book. Her books are pretty darn similar, but I love the way she writes and I love the way she builds a character. This one has a very similar feel to Book Lovers, but I loved it just as much. Definitely recommend this one too. So 5 stars on that one as well. Oh my gosh. Maybe in my top 5 as well. The next book I gave 5 stars to was Tom Felton's book. I think it's called Beyond the Wand, The Magic and Mayhem of Growing Up a Wizard. You guys, if you are a Harry Potter fan, run, don't walk to buy this book and gobble it up because it's perfect. If you're a Harry Potter fan, read this freaking book because it is absolutely perfect. Talk about another celebrity who kind of poured his heart out, and you see who Tom Felton is through this book and his experience in Harry Potter, yes, but it goes so far beyond just sharing his human experience and his mental health struggles, and wow, it is so stinking good. It made me fall in love with Tom Felton. I mean, I've always loved him and thought he was so cute, but it made me fall in love with him. He is so good, and a great writer too. Okay, next is a total 180 from everything I've been talking about so far. I read Under the Banner of Heaven, which is basically a book about Mormon history mixed with like cult history, mixed with some outlandish religious murders. It is incredibly well written. It's a nonfiction. It takes you through all of the Mormon history, and oh my god. If you like stuff like that, which if you don't know me, I'm obsessed with Mormons. Pretty much everyone knows that about me. I just find them endlessly fascinating. You should read this freaking book. It's a very quick read. It's a very compelling nonfiction read, not boring whatsoever. It just takes you on this full journey, and once you leaves you wanting more at the end. Like, it is, woo, so good. Definitely 5 stars. Okay, and then the next book I read that was 5 stars is a total indulgent romance book, okay? The only reason I gave this book 5 stars is because I loved it so much. I didn't give it 5 stars because it's a good book. I can't say it's a good book, but I loved the experience of reading it. It's called The Fine Print, which is book number 1 in the Dreamland Billionaires series, which basically follows 3 grandsons of a deceased grandfather who has left them conditions in his will in order to inherit their legacy and control of the empire that the grandfather built. And the grandfather is clearly intricately based on Walt Disney. It's all about a theme park called Dreamland, and it's just, if you are a Disney World nerd, you will appreciate this so stinking much because there are Imagineers in it. There's everything about the parks. Like, it's a romance mixed with Disney World. It's a Disney World romance. And it's almost bully romance. Like, it's very much hate to love of these 2 characters that fall in love. And it's really cheesy and corny, and the setup of the characters is almost gag-worthy. But it's worth it because of the world that's built. This Dreamland world is just like Disney World, and it was just so fun to read these characters in that world specifically. So very indulgent. If you're not a Disney person, you will not like this book. It is so cheesy. But if you are a Disney person and you like romance, these 3 books in the series, worth it. I haven't even read the 2nd or the 3rd one yet, but they're on my freaking list because I loved this one so much. Okay, and then last, The Pinnacle. And I have much more to say on this series. I'm going to do a whole video coming soon, as soon as I finish the entire series. But I read A Court of Thorn and Roses. Now, the first book, did not love. The first book, I think I gave 3.5 or 4 stars to. And I was like, I'm not going to read the second one. I didn't like the first one. It was just over the top romance and cheesy. The second one, maybe the best book I've read all year. Maybe taking the number 1 spot. Definitely in top 3 for sure. This series is so freaking good. I can't explain it to you any further than you should read it. It is so good. If you like fantasy, if you like romance and you haven't read this, what are you doing with your life? You need to go read it right now. Stay tuned for an in-depth video of this entire series. I'm almost done reading it. I'm on the last book right now, so it'll be coming in a couple of weeks. I can't wait to talk way more in depth about it. But the 2nd and the 3rd book in the series, I gave 5 stars to both of them. So totally worth the read. You should look into it for sure. And that's capped off my year of reading books. I hit my goal. I hit my stretch goal. My goal was 40 books and I hit 50 books this year. So next year, we're going for 75 people. We're going big. We're going all out. And I can't wait to share it all with you. So before we go, let me know down in the comments, what were your favorite books you read this year? I want to know all of them, especially if you read books like me, because I love your recommendations and will read them. So let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you want more book content from me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!